In 1976, an unreleased Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids episode was secretly being made without any prior announcement, focusing on Fat Albert meeting the new girl in the street. It was finished, but its release was scrapped shortly after test screening due to how dark and depressing it was to show at a certain age for kids. However, the theme about abuse would be reused for a later episode called Spare the Rod. It was considered lost media for a while, with its synopsis being unknown, with its existence being hidden very obscurely from the internet, with its only proof being mentioned in a lost interview with Bill Cosby himself. That is, until someone came forward to claim and confirmed that his grandfather had actually seen the episode as one of the members of the test audience and remembers it so clearly that the OP described it in very full detail. The episode starts off with the intro to the show itself, but however it was different than the one in any other episode. During the intro, there was a random character that was never seen in the show before, just standing there, watching them perform the intro in front of her. After the theme song, the gang would notice and ask the girl who she is. The girl revealed her name was Ruby, before Rudy pointed out that her name sounded just like his first name. Ruby chuckled a bit about it and smiled as she continued talking with the gang as they each introduced themselves to her. Shortly after the conversation, she said to the gang that they are the nicest people she had ever seen, before telling them that her parents needed her before walking off, sniffling and sobbing as the gang greeted their goodbyes to her. This made Albert notice as he walked up to her and asked what the problem was. She told him that he does not want to know as she resumed walking off, still sniffling and sobbing. This made Albert feel bad and also concerned about what might have happened to her prior to her moving to the street, before continuing on his day, feeling very worried about her. The next morning, Ruby visits the gang again. This time she had a purple eye and several bruises, along with small cuts. This made the gang shocked as Albert then asked what happened. Ruby told him that her parents abused her physically, hence the reason why she had a purple eye along with the injuries in the first place. She also claimed that the only thing she could do to hide the evidence that she was horribly abused was to smile, which her line in that particular scene was the title of that said episode. This horrified Albert as he told her that she needs to call the cops and have her parents arrested if it happens again. The girl would thank him and tell him she will as a promise. Later that night, Albert enters the inside of a hotel that Ruby and her parents were living in and put his ear at the door. What he heard was beating sounds, crying, and two adults shouting. One was female and the other was male. This angered Albert, where he proceeds to kick the door down as hard as he could, where he found Ruby in a more abused state, along with her parents. The parents heard the door being knocked down before looking and seeing the horrified Albert as he shouted at them that he'll be calling the cops on them instantly due to how they treated Ruby, which is their daughter. The parents panicked and pled him not to, but it was too late. It fades into the outside of the place where Officer Gomez was arresting the parents as the other cops were comforting Ruby. Ruby turns to Albert and thanked him for the help. He responded that he was too, and also said that he did the right thing calling the cops on the parents, as he already knew that something bad happened to her in the first place. The episode fades into a segment of the live-action Bill Cosby, just like any other episode. This episode, he is teaching the viewers about what to do in a similar situation, like what Ruby went through, as it ends with the credits playing, ending the episode. And that was All I Can Do Is Smile, a Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids Creepypasta by Aj9849, which is also a remake of Smiling, another Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids Creepypasta by 1084711. What do I think about this story? This story is too short because it not only escalated too quickly, but it had grammatical and spelling issues that I think should have been checked in Word or Google Docs or any other software or spell check. That would have helped the story and made it more structured. Also, when you write a story, make sure to not rush it or you'll have problems like that in this story. There are actually a lot of positives that make this story really good. Like the details are really nice, which is better than the original story. That is for sure. And this topic of abuse was handled very well for a creepypasta. Usually it would be for shock value or even make it worse. But here I don't feel that. The backstory was very realistic and made sense. The OP's grandfather has a good memory and was able to pass this on to his grandson as a story. Storytelling was better than the original by a long shot. In the original, we had some Japanese writing on the screen for some damn reason, and a cartoon girl that was a psychopath or a sociopath with a resting sad face. I'm not joking, that's in the original story. In this remake, however, we had a cartoon girl going through abuse from her asshole parents, which is more believable than Bill Cosby hitting himself with a baseball bat. Sorry, I really dislike the original version of this. It is bad and handles depression worse than Squidward's suicide. We will get to the original version of Smiling someday, but not now. When I say this remake is a great PSA episode, sort of, but this feels more of an animatic than a full episode, which it probably was. Thus, that would explain a whole lot about this story. But what is my rating on this great story? A 7.5 out of 10, a very good story, but with a lot of flaws. Before I end today's review, make sure to like and comment on this video along with subscribing to the channel. Don't forget to follow my Twitter account and check out the community tab for updates on videos. I will see you next time, my fellow minions, and I am out.